Good morning, everyone. I'm Mr. Funk again. If you don't know me, I'm doing this for Mr. Hubauer's class, Mr. Dewick's class, Mr. Smith's class, and my class. We're going to go over movement prep, which is a bit of a review for the grade 10s, but it's important stuff and stuff we should be reviewing every year. And for the grade 9s, it might be new. Today's learning target will be for us to work together to master the 5 main movement skills, which are push, pull, lunge, squat, and hinge. Because if we can master these movements, we can get the full benefits of resistance training without the risk of injury, thus helping us in our quest to be physically literate. I put here a picture of my kid to remind us that all of us once could move like this. Despite what you might think, I haven't done any training with him, but this is how he was programmed to move. If you've ever seen a little kid pick something up off the ground or play, they go into a very deep squat because their mobility is very good, and this is how we were designed to move. However, over time, a lot of it due to sitting in chairs and sitting in classrooms actually has made us lose this motor programming. So we want to get back what we once could all do. So the idea is that once we master these movement skills, we can start adding weight in the form of dumbbells or kettlebells or bands or barbells to these different movements and increase our strength over time. But we don't want to add any weight until we've mastered these movements with our body weight, because we run the risk of injury. So we have some key factors in moving well. A good spine angle, which we've done before. It means you have 3 good points of contact, which we're going to watch in this video momentarily. Body weight centered over midfoot, knees working in line with foot and hips, and elbows stay tight together with the body. We're going to look at the push, pull, squat, lunge, and hinge, and make sure that we have all of these key factors while we're doing them. I'll just hit play on this video. I'm going to stop there for a second. One thing I wanted to add in while I was making that video is that it's through most movements. So obviously if you do a crunch, you're not going to maintain those 3 points of contact. If you're dancing or if you're doing other sport-specific movements, you may go away from those 3 points of contact. We don't want to walk around like robots all the time. But if we do ever add weight to a squat, if we ever add weight to a deadlift or something where we have resistance pushing down on us, if we're pulling resistance up from the ground, we want to maintain those 3 points of contact. Pause there again. One way to make sure that you do have this equal pressure on the ground is to, if you pretend my hand is my foot here, grab the ground with your foot. So try and curl your feet into the ground and really focus on getting the pressure on the pads of your big toe and your little toe and also the heel of your foot. And you can also rotate internally and try and screw your feet into the ground, which will create some torque and tension. And we're going to be much stronger like this, much more balanced, but also safe. We're going to keep our knees safe, and that's what we're going to go over in this next video. So again, these key factors are important when we do any kind of exercise, but also when we do any kind of standing or sitting for a long time. We should really focus on this. Here's a hinge and a GIF I made. I think it's pronounced GIF, maybe GIF, I'm not sure. But you can watch it over and over again, and it shows how to hinge properly, and then I obviously had to get some reps in with my golf swing. But I want to look at these key factors, which is good spine angle, body weight centered over midfoot, knees work in line with hip and foot, and elbows stay tight to the body. So if you watch me hinge a few times, hopefully you can see that. When we hinge, there's some everyday movements where we hinge. Sitting or standing, every time you do it, your first movement should be a hinge. Brushing your teeth as you're bent over the mirror, you're looking in the mirror, you're hinging. Raking the lawn, shoveling snow. So the idea is, like, if you don't hinge one time when you're doing these kind of movements, it's not going to throw your back out. But over a lifetime, or over 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years of hinging improperly, it could have some consequences. And I had some personal experience with that, actually. When we talk about adding resistance, so if you hinge over improperly, if you hinge over improperly to pick up a suitcase or something heavy, then you do face the risk of that one time actually causing some injury. Some exercises that require hinges, it's always the first movement in a squat or in a deadlift. When you're using a bent over row or doing kettlebell swings, you're hinging, you're coming in and out of hinging. And also things where you're standing, like a standing chest press or a tricep pull down, you're often bent at the hips and it requires some kind of hinge. Fun fact here, this guy just beat the world record in deadlift. I think he deadlifted over 1,100 pounds, which is absolutely insane. And fans of Game of Thrones might know him as the Mountain. That's who that is. Anyways, squat. I made another GIF here, and you can watch it over time. I had to get a few reps in with my golf swing as well, so feel free to analyze that and send that back to me. But take a look at the key factors again. Look at my spine angle. Look at my body weight centered over my midfoot as I'm doing the squat, or my knees working in line with my foot and my hips, and do my elbows stay tight to the body as I do the squat. You can take a look at that. Everyday movements that require a squat, again, sitting or standing up, and then picking something up. Like I showed you in that picture with my kid, he squats down before he picks anything up, and that's actually the best way to do it. It keeps us the strongest and makes injury less likely, as long as we do it properly. Exercises that require squats are obviously any squat, so barbell, goblet squats, whatever. Take a look at this guy here. He's got rid of his standing desk. He said that's not even good enough, and he got just into a sitting desk. And if you watch people in different places around the world where they don't sit all day, this is how they work. This is how they're programmed to work, and they have way less hip issues and lower back issues. And again, we've all been able to work like that in the past. It's just a matter of getting those motor functioning and strengthening and mobility back. So a lunge, key factors there. Again, you can take a look and make sure I'm doing it properly. Every day when we lunge, everyday movements that require lunges, any kind of time we're moving or working from the ground. I think about my brother a lot. He's a plumber, and he is often bent over in weird positions, and he has to lunge, and he has to make sure that his weight is centered over his foot properly and his knee doesn't get too far in front of his foot to make sure he doesn't get injured. Exercises that require lunges are obviously lunging, different types of lunges, but also split squats. This is a Bulgarian split squat here this lady's doing. TRX squats, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. Push. Here are the main factors. Exercises that require a push are opening a door, mowing the lawn, shoveling snow. Again, if you shovel snow improperly one time without pushing, the proper pushing techniques, are you going to throw your back out? Maybe, but maybe not, probably not. But over a lifetime, you might. Exercises that require a push are push-ups, bench press, dumbbell press, shoulder press, anything where our elbow gets further away from our body. Our elbow extends. That's the human anatomy term for a push. There's extension at the elbow, extension at the shoulder joint, and pull is the final one. So key factors that are important to pull are the same as everything else. Everyday movements that require pulling, like pulling a sled, pulling luggage, or raking. Exercises that require pull, lat pull down, bent over rows. Our lats are the main puller. They're the big muscle back here. The other pulling muscles are lats and trapezius and bicep. I should have mentioned this before, but these are the muscle groups required for all of these exercises. Here, I'll go back. The main hinge muscles are the hamstrings, glutes, erector spinae, which are your lower back muscles, and abdominals. Not every hinge requires all of these, but most of these are involved in hinge movements. With squats, we're really looking at our quads, hamstrings, and glutes, among other muscles. There's lots of other muscles that are involved in the squat, but these are the main movers, and most times you're doing a squat exercise, you're moving these muscles. The lunge, quads, hamstrings, and glutes. When we push, we're using our pecs, our deltoids, and our triceps most of the time. If we're just doing a tricep exercise, like a tricep pull down, we're not using our deltoids and pecs as much. But for most pushing exercises, we are using all three of those muscles. And with pull, same thing. We use our lats and the trapezius almost in every pull, but if we're just doing bicep curls, our lats and our trapezius are not involved. Take a look at this. This guy here is one of the world's strongest men, and they actually pull a plane a certain amount of distance. I think it's just like inches that they pull this plane. But he uses all the squat, lunge, push, and pull to do this. He's squatting and lunging with his legs. He's hinged over a little bit, and he's pulling on this rope. I guess he's not pushing, really, but I guess maybe he would be a little bit with his tricep as he extends with the rope. But that would require all those major movements. I have one more video here on standing and sitting. Okay, I got 20 seconds left here. The assignment for this week is a video that I've attached in another file. Watch that video and try to spot all the movement violations that I make. So every time I don't follow these key factors, try and point it out and write it down. Should be fun. Until next time, guys, take care.